There's an economic principle called the law of diminishing returns. That means the more of something you get, the less value it holds for you, which is exactly why you can put in hours training for a race, days and weeks and all of this. But the minute you do that race, the joy and the glory of getting the medal and putting it around your neck and everyone cheering fades faster and faster. When we're constantly seeking for this moment that's going to make us something better than what we are, we're looking for that validation. We're looking for, here's a sign that I'm different. But the reality is no event, no activity, no achievement is going to make you something that you're not. In fact, it is along the way that is what's transformative. So if you're not able to enjoy where you're at in that process, if you just want the glory and you don't want the work, you're never going to be happy. We are currently on a property that's boat access only, and it's a lot of work. We're in the forest, there's constant work to be done. There's a lot of maintenance. If we don't take care of things between the lake and the forest, it's going to just consume the log cabin and us. I was sitting with my partner and we're reflecting that it's so much work here, but it is a work that we love. A lot of people will be focused on, oh, got to get the land in proper shape. We have to repaint the boathouse. We need to get everything done and then we'll be happy. But the reality is we were able to stop the other day in our work day, step outside, watch after the storm had cleared, or this one egret is up in the tree, the ducks are all over in the lake playing around, and to really say like this is why we're here. We're not here for that perfect moment when everything is done. We're here for right now. When I trained for Ironman, that's a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 mile run, lots and lots of training. I'm talking like Saturday would be 6 hours on the bike, followed by an hour, 2-hour run. Sundays were long runs, so you're running for 4 or 5 hours, back to back to back. I mean, it's before work, you're running 18 miles and just insane amount of training. I remember thinking, gosh, I just can't wait to do the race and all this stuff. Well, I get to the race and I'm running and I'm riding and I'm like, God, these crowds are really kind of annoying to me. Like I just miss the peace and the quiet where I would train in. And I was so surprised, by the time I finished, I think I finished in just under 13 hours, a very long day. Everyone's cheering and everyone's like so excited and it's wonderful. People are supportive, but they put the medal around my neck and it's like, I just wanted quiet and I just wanted to go home. While I was happy I had finished it and I was very proud of myself, I realized that the transformation had already occurred. And there's a saying, especially in triathlon, that the race is just a victory lap, is that it shouldn't be the end goal. It's just your own way of celebrating, saying, hey, I did all this work. And I think in our lives it's a lot like that. So if you are not happy on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. in whatever you're doing, maybe you're stuck at work working on a really hard project, maybe you're in the car and you got your 2 kids fighting in the back seat, maybe you are having an awkward conversation with your partner that you've been putting off for a while, but you really need to have that conversation about the thing. And that is where the life is happening. And when we're constantly trying to avoid life, we are missing the entire point. Your life is not meant to be this perfect thing that's off in the distance. And then when you reach it, everything is smooth sailing after that. Entire life is going to be a series of pretty much the same circumstances and the same conversations and the same struggles unfolding at different rates. So if you struggle with abandonment issues, you're always going to be dealing with that at some level. If you struggle with attachment, if you struggle with being jealous of others, if you struggle with feeling insecure, you're always going to be unwrapping those layers. So to think that you're going to reach a point where everything is fine and there's no more work and no more struggle, you're chasing after something that doesn't exist. Learning to enjoy the work, learning to enjoy the effort, learning to pause in that space and say, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm creating, look at the conversations I'm having, look at my growth. That means you are living in the present, you are being fully mindful, and you are getting the glory along the way, not the end destination. My hope really by the end of every day is that I've had a good day. I took time to enjoy it during the day. A lot of us are waiting for a vacation, a weekend. We're always racing somewhere. If we can just get to Friday, if I can just get to, my 2-week vacation, if I can just get to that trip to the island, then we get there and we're so fried and we're so tired and our nervous system's so jacked up that we're eating, we're drinking, and we're all this junk. And it's not like you're really recharging. And if you are, again, law of diminishing returns, right? It goes away so fast. You get back in your routine at your work. And, and we've been talking a lot about this here at the house about, we have this deep sense of joy and it's very unconventional. But a lot of people are so busy running around doing all these other things that don't really align with what they want or even who they are anymore. You know, they're going to restaurants they don't like, but that's a restaurant we always go to on Wednesday. They're hanging out with people they grew up with that they really don't have anything in common with. They are eating things and listening to music and dressing in certain ways because that's what they've always done. If they took the time to stop and pause and think, who am I today? What do I want now? Where do I want to go? And what kind of person do I have to be today in order to get there? And what skills do I need to learn? And who else can help me along the way? That's what's going to make your life shift from where you are into this extraordinary life that you're looking at that you're like, I can never get there. Now, when I look back at my life, I saw a memory come up on Facebook, and I think it was 13 years ago, which I'm 45, so that doesn't seem that far away, but at the same time, it feels like lifetimes. 13 years ago, I let the owner know of the company I was at that I was going to be leaving and starting my own business. I remember being so nervous. You know, at the time, I was like, who was I 13 years ago? I was renting a house that was like old and full of bugs and whatever. I was never going to be able to buy a house. I was nervous about starting a business, but I really wanted to do something that was on my own. And I was making great money, but I just had this idea that, gosh, I would just do my own thing. And I decided to go for it. And I was so less capable than I am today. So for that version of me to do that was just this intense undertaking. And I started a business with nothing, and we went through quite a bit of poverty, to be honest. We were literally under the poverty line. It was very hard. And we pushed and we pushed and we pushed and became very successful. But the point is that 13 years ago, I was not capable of any of the things that I did 4 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, certainly not 13 years later. And when I look ahead at 13 years from now, I think, I have no idea what I'm capable of. And when you take those limiting factors off of yourself and you are constantly checking with yourself, going, well, what do I want now? Where do I want to go? You open yourself up to the possibility of who you can become. If I'm constantly tethering myself to who I've been, it's going to be very hard to move forward.